This one's called The Whiskey Lantern. The year was 1890, and the wind off the plains carried the scent of pine smoke and whiskey. In a small mining town tucked between the Rockies, there stood a speakeasy known only as the Whiskey Lantern. It wasn't much to look at, just a timber shack with a crooked sign and a door that creaked like an old fiddle. But inside it glowed with warmth, laughter. And the owner, folks called him Old Tom, had been running the place since before the railroad came through. His beard was silver, his hands rough as saddle leather, and his eyes, though tired, still held a spark that whiskey alone could not explain. He'd seen men come and go, fortunes rise and fall, and dreams burn out faster than a match in the wind. But every night, he kept the lanterns lit, pouring drinks and listening to the stories that drifted through his bar like ghosts. And one winter, she walked in. Her name was Clara May, a traveling storyteller who carried a satchel full of notebooks and a voice that could hush a room. She wasn't like the others who came through town. She didn't gamble, didn't drink much, and didn't flinch when the miners got loud. Instead, she'd sit by the fire, her eyes catching the light, and spin tales that made even the hardest men forget their troubles. Old Tom found himself lingering near her table more often than he meant to. He'd refill her glass before it was empty, ask about her travels, and listen as she spoke of faraway cities and the people she'd met. She told stories of love and loss, of heroes and ghosts. And sometimes when the fire burned low, she'd tell stories that felt like they were meant just for him. And one night, after the last of the miners had stumbled out into the snow, Claire stayed behind, and the fire crackled. The lantern light flickered across the bottles behind the bar, dancing on them. She looked at Tom and said softly, "You got stories too, don't you?" Tom chuckled, rubbing the rim of a glass with a rag. "Ain't much worth telling, just an old man who stayed put while the world moved on." And Claire smiled, knowing that kind of smile could see right through a man. "Sometimes the best stories are the ones that stay put," she said. He poured them both a drink, his finest rye, and they sat by the fire. Outside, the wind howled through the pines, but inside, time seemed to slow, all the way down. Tom told her about the early days when the town was just tents and mud, when he'd built the bar with his own hands. He told her about the woman he'd once loved, long gone now, and how he'd poured his heart into the whiskey and the wood. And Clara May listened, her eyes soft, her hand resting on the table between them. When he finished, she reached into her satchel and pulled out a small notebook. "Mind if I write that down?" she asked. Tom nodded. "Only if you promise to make it sound better than it was." And she laughed, and the sound filled the room like music. "I don't think I could." That night, as the fire burned low again and the lanterns dimmed, old Tom realized something he hadn't felt in years: hope. Not the kind that comes from gold or whiskey, but the kind that comes from being seen, truly seen by another soul. And when Clara left town for a few days, she left behind a single page torn from her notebook. On it was a story about an old speakeasy owner who kept the light burning for the stories yet to be told. Tom framed that page and hung it behind the bar, right above the whiskey shelf. And every night after, when the fire crackled and the lanterns glowed, he'd look at it and smile, knowing that somewhere out there, Clara May was still telling stories, and maybe, just maybe, one of them was about him.